Yeah, welcome back to the Respect the Sample podcast, where we break down the samples to the music that we all love.
This is episode 4. I Can't Wait by Sleepy Brown, and we literally could not wait to talk about this record. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. Bruh, that jam, bruh, the soulfulness in that, I mean,
bro, that sounded like some Earth, Wind, and Fire could have made or something like that. Like we were talking earlier, it's a radio station out here called KBLX. So KBLX, we from the Bay Area. KBLX is the radio station that like plays all the old school music. They will play Earth, Wind, and Fire. They'll play like a Daz band, you know, all of the old school music from the 70s.
Anita Baker, especially.
Yeah, on top. Every day. Sweet of Love.
Yeah.
Look, so they would play this song. This is one of the only rap songs that they would play. What they would do is they would take this, they would take Big Boy's verse off of I Like the Way You Move.
Right.
And then they would start playing. So that kind of introduced them to playing Sleepy Brown. I heard this a couple of times on there as well.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's great that R&B artists, especially that remind people who've been in the business for a long time, they resonate with voices that have that same soul and that Motown kind of feel. And you know what? I didn't know that was an actual like fucking sample because the way that it was chopped, it was like seamless.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean...
Bro, because his voice sounds like a sample.
Oh, perfect.
Off top.
Right.
You know where that come from? His dad was actually in Daz band. So
that's the one right there. Like I'm gonna sample that one day. Though. I'm gonna sample that for surely.
So it'll be so crazy. You'll hear his dad's song, and then you'll hear his song on the same radio station. He really captured that soul. But let's talk a little bit about Sleepy Brown. If y'all don't know who Sleepy Brown is, Sleepy Brown is responsible for Outkast. He's responsible. He's 1/3 of Organized Noise. They made songs such as the Players Ball, the Players Anthem, Southern Playalistic Cadillac, all of that, bro.
All of the Outkast. I mean, it was like So Fresh, So Clean. And then, you know, basically, I didn't know that they produced Waterfalls by TLC.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. So, but then when I go back to the record and hear, you're like, oh, that's Organized Noise for sure. And then you realize that, wow, Outkast really did blend into Organized Noise way of making music because they got out of the box of just straight hip hop and then became more of like pop rap, but in a way that had the same soul.
And
you know what I mean?
That funk and then you know everything, because back in the day, bro, like now it's like, okay, this is hip hop, this is R&B, but back in the day it was really like, I'm just making music. I'm just an artist. Like Sleepy Brown, like he used to bring so many different secession players in.
Right.
You know, and Atlanta is a big music bed. I mean, there's so much talent out there, so much black culture. That's one of the
South.
Yeah.
Gumbo,
on,
baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. You know what? I appreciate Southern hip hop so much because in the 90s, it was really hard to break out hip hop in Atlanta.
For sure.
But then starting in the 2000s, they just really jump started like the Dirty South. You know what I mean?
They took over, bro.
They took over, man.
They took over and they didn't give it back. Because what it was back in the day, okay, boom, it started out in New York. Boom, we took it West Coast.
Yeah.
Pac died. The South took it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They make it, Jermaine Dupri make that Welcome to Atlanta. We've been welcome ever since. We ain't left.
We
bro.
ain't never left, man. The culture is crazy. And you know what? And they opened up the gates. It's not just, you know, Atlanta. You got Houston.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then they had Miami. Then New Orleans.
Come on, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to respect New Orleans, man, for that bounce. But I really want to talk about the sample, like the chops. Because like I said, it was seamless, man. Like, I mean, like, let's talk about the sample.
Okay, so what it sampled, and we didn't even know what it sampled. Like, that's one thing that we love about creating the show. A lot of people from around the world be hitting us up telling us how, I didn't even know that was sampled. I'm like, shit, nigga, we didn't know it was sampled. You know, we really just trying to go and dig deep on our favorite songs. These are songs that we all love, and we're doing the research and figuring out the samples for y'all and for ourselves. This was a sample from Hole and Dozier. It was a soul group, you know what I'm saying, back in the 70s. They came out with a song called Don't Leave Me Starving for Your Love.
Right.
And really, one of the main things that they really, the only thing they sampled from this song was those strings, that that was sampled, and then the rest of it was played. Like I said, they always They implement a lot of, or should I say include a lot of session players. And, you know, they play music themselves as well.
Right, yeah.
So it was one of those things where...
It's like, you know what I love about the producers that chop samples in the 90s especially, well, you know, I'd say today too, but they don't only just loop the sample, they elevate the sample. And by elevating the sample, it's like, okay, we're not going to have that same horn or string chop go through the same thing. We're actually going to go ahead and put chords to it. So always study your music that you're going to sample, because you'll sample something, and so for the producers out there, you sample something and then you want to throw chords or strings on top of it. So get the key of the song and get the structure of it, and then actually just play around with it. And that's why I love organized noise, because they're so like really the musicality made them music geniuses, you know what I mean?
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah, because that main rose that you hear in there, that's not in the sample.
Right.
That's somebody that played that. So the way they used the sample was as like a sprinkling on top.
Right.
You know, adding that other live element in there with those live strings. Because one thing about strings when it comes to production, strings and horns are the hardest thing to emulate.
Right.
VST.
Oh my God.
They always sound cheesy. You know, Contact has some pretty good banks. I like session strings.
Yeah, session strings.
Yeah, session strings goes crazy, but like just getting the horns right, because horns have so much nuance in them. Like I rarely ever would play a VST with the horn, and I'd rather get a sample, bro. But the way they use these strings on top, that's why we didn't know it was a sample, because they used it, like you said, so seamlessly, bro.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's talk about a little bit about organized noise for a second, because the fact that, like I said, I love production duos and trios. You know what I mean? It reminds me of Justice League. You know what I mean? Like just having three brains working on something. I mean, you and I worked on countless beats, and how I was just able to bounce off ideas like that. Just imagine having a rap group as talented as Outkast, and then having three. They had records for days. I mean, Outkast is,
but to me, bro, three-headed monster though. I'm not talking about organized noise. I'm talking about the production. That's one head, right?
Yeah.
The rappers is one head.
Right.
But who was that A&R, bro?
Who's the A&R?
L.A. Reid, bro.
L.A. Reid.
Come on, bro.
We need a button on the show. We need that explosion, man.
L.A. Reid was a part of one of the craziest production duos already. So he mentored a lot of the people that were after him.
Right.
In a future episode, we're going to talk about Tim and Bob.
Yeah.
He mentored them. He mentored organized noise.
Right.
Because he was the music that he made. Him and Babyface made the music that inspired all of the rest of the duos coming up after them. You know, so yeah, bro.
LaFace is just the imprint of just R&B. Period. I mean, they're just like the heart of R&B. You know what I mean? In 1990s, like I said, it catapulted a lot of the music that came out today in the same soul that we hear in the samples that we hear on, you know, Crate League, and you know, shout out to hiphopdrumsamples.com. We're gonna plug them in a little bit later episodes. But yeah, it's just the rich and the fullness of just soul music. It just pushes everything forward, and you know, I love that on top of hard drums.
Oh yeah, off top, bro. That kick that you go listen to this song, bro.
Man, it's crazy.
If you ain't heard it in a while, go listen to this song. The way that kick comes in, the way that it punches all the way through, it reminds me of somebody. I ain't gonna mention no names.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna mention no names right here. The way that the punch just, oh my God.
Yeah, man, I love
what do you think they use? Not to cut you off, bro. What do you think they use, bro, on that kick?
What I think,
since you are the drum
I think they use the MPC. I think they use the MPC, and you know what's funny, because when people use different one shots and samples, you want to think, man, what kick is that? And then you realize you had that kick the whole time. It's how they used it, processed it, and how they incorporated the other instruments around it, which made it clean. So sound selection is key. You know what I mean? Sound selection is super key. And I want to also talk about producers who do majority of like people's joints, and just having that rapport and that chemistry. And it's like, it seems like, you know what, like Metro Boomin and Future, you know what I mean, 40 and Drake, or you can even say Boy Wonder and Drake, and Soundwave and Kendrick. I just love how, I mean, what do you think about that? It's just, I feel like it's needed almost.
Bro,
like,
I think it's what's missing in the game today, because I was listening to an interview with some other producers, and they were talking about how if you going play basketball with somebody, and then you talking about relationship issues with somebody, and then you go eat with somebody, then y'all go to the studio. It's gonna be a whole different vibe, like when Janet Jackson was in the studio with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, like when Diddy was in the lab with Mary J. Blige, that we was talking about in the other episode. You're talking about real things that they going through, so it comes off in not even just the beats they select, but the lyrics they write, the melodies. You know, you riding around listening to different songs. Like with this song, they were probably listening to Holland and Dozier and Organized Noise was like, man, we need to sample them strings one day, and boom. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the beauty of finding a sample that you were talking about like a year ago, and then you just always had it, and then they just bring it back into it, or it never was there. They were listening to like probably a gang of records here, you know what I mean? And then finally just spark that interest. But I think it's very, important to have that producer and just that artist connection. But the fact that it was like a squad, we talking the Dungeon Family, you know what I'm saying? Big Get, you know what I mean? CeeLo Green came into the sessions, you know what I mean? Like just the whole entire, I mean, Future came in later, you know what I mean? Dungeon Family. So Future is actually, Rico Wade is 1/3 Organized Noise.
Right.
Future is his little cousin.
Bruh.
You feel what I'm saying? So
we need to get a soundboard. We need to get soundboard, gunshots, explosions, all that. You know what I mean? We dropping bombs right here.
Bro, you around that all day. And then one thing I like about Organized Noise, one thing I like about the Dungeon Family, I just said Future is their little cousin. Future music don't sound shit like anybody in the Dungeon Family. CeeLo don't sound nothing like, you feel me? Like
everybody has their own.
Bro, when artists come out today, every nigga in the group sound exactly the same. They're using the exact same slang. They're using the exact same beats. Everything, bro. Bro, you had niggas in the same group that dropped the double album talking about Outkast. None of them beats sound like each other, but neither one of those albums sound anything like each other. Right. You know what I'm saying? And them two niggas in the same group.
Exactly.
So I think that's what's missing as well, just the originality and the creativity. Nowadays, I feel like people are trying to make what's gonna make the most money. You lose the. God leaves the room. You know what I mean? It definitely leaves the room because you just lose that richness and that soulness. But you know, I want to also mention, you know, Organized Noise opened the doors for. Let's go through the list. I'm gonna go through. It's like a small list, but before you had Metro Boomin, you had Lex Luger. You know what I mean? And before you had Lex Luger, you had Zaytoven. And then Zaytoven, then you had Drummer Boy. So you can see how it just opened up, like it's almost like the evolution of Southern hip hop because of the beats. You know what I mean? So, you know, Metro Boomin really was the one who like kind of just cemented Atlanta sound. And before you knew it, that Atlanta sound is like in New York. And you know, he's not from Atlanta, but you can't fail to mention Big Crit.
Big Crit.
You know? Big Crit, he got a lot of his sound from Organized Noise and was very influenced by Organized Noise.
Listen to Big Crit's music, like you know that I literally thought that I was like, oh, this is Outkast's new member or something. Like they just got some dude they just signed.
Same thing, Earth Gang. You know what I'm saying? Like
Spillage Village, but shout out to JID, shout out to Dreamville for sure. Shout
out to Dreamville, man. We gotta hit that Dream. What is it called? Dream Fest in North Carolina.
Yeah, we gonna have to go to all of them. We got a bunch of fests, and you know what? We gonna have to get our own tent and then just have our own show. You know what I mean? That's that'd be fire.
Speaking it to existence, then boy.
Shit, gotta do it. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot, man. I mean, especially you already went to the Her Festival. You already went there. You know, you told me about the whole thing. Like I was just like, I should have went to the.
Her has a festival in the Bay Area called the Lights Out Fest. It was actually my daughter's first concert, bro.
Wow.
Hopefully she does it again this year. Hopefully we can get a tent up there and do it live. Because we gotta take care of home first, bro. We talking about going all the way to fucking North Carolina. We gotta take it. Nigga, that's in Concord.
And you
that's
see
5 minutes away.
And we game recognize game. You know what I mean? Even though we West Coast, like we're really in tap with like we in tune with Southern hip hop, New York hip hop. You know what I mean? We give it up because we listen to Diplomats, you know, growing up and all that kind of stuff.
Shit, but we go across the water too, Afro beats and you know what I'm saying, all that.
Organized Noise, I want to hear a lot more of that. I don't know if they're still producing today. They probably still are, but you know what I mean? Like they're like legacy producers, you know what I mean? We always want more from them, but sometimes it's just like it might be, you know, sometimes they'll go into film. You know, they were in, you know, I forgot what the movie was called. There it is. Idlewild is crazy. Yeah. Actually, the album is crazy too. Idlewild's crazy, and it's funny because Idlewild is like, you know, inspired from really Speakerboxxx and Love Below. That same type of like.
Yeah, I was around that same time. Yeah.
I mean, the production just went left, and then when I heard that, I mean, man, I was about 13, 14 when that album dropped. That double disc, it was just like some of the.
Lives in my lap.
She lives in my lap. Check out the record "I Can't Wait" by Sleepy Brown, produced by Organized Noise.